Literally, all of them are younger than me.
What is like 70?
He's probably about 70. They were only a few years younger than me.
Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he's doing real well. He's doing real well now.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Give him my love.
Yeah, I will. We're going to start doing like some book signings and things coming
right
up.
on. Well,
that's amazing. I sure will.
Small world, huh?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, that's when I was starting to struggle to be a martial artist.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. What a catastrophe that turned out to be. But I think it was a blessing in disguise in the long run.
That you didn't?
I don't think I'd be here.
Oh, is that right?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Guys weren't going to let me be a martial artist with my mouth. Be able to kick ass.
Too much martial art and physically.
No, that wasn't going to happen.
Maybe that's why I had to stop.
Yeah, they made me crazy when I went down to the gym. I was working out in adrenaline fits every time I went. Because they were so shitty to me. They didn't want me there. Get the fuck out of here, female. Get out of here. Yeah, that's the way it was.
Not Johnny Moore.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the same school.
Oh, okay.
And all of those guys were chauvinist as shit, too. I mean, make no mistake.
Okay.
Oh, I don't, yeah.
Because I was studying with him over at Wajumbe, when they were over there on Fulton.
Oh, I've missed Jumbe. I do. I visited him in the hospital, and the whole last period of his life, month of his life. Here we go.
You got about 1 minute.
Okay. None of this, I don't want this in the way. Wrong one.
I don't have any boogers hanging out my nose.
I was just thinking that.
Do I?
No, you look great. I do.
I have tissues. I have
need
tissues.
a tissue, please.
I
was just thinking, make sure. Do I? Am I okay?
Let me have. Maybe I better have. No, it's too late. No, one more, just to make sure.
You're fine.
Thanks. Okay.
Oh, we didn't do. You want like a pink color too?
Are my glasses straight? Oh, purple. I love that. That color. This.
There we go.
Okay, you're almost done.
Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle on this May 21st, 2015. And I'm very pleased to bring you our wonderful guest, bringing her back to Bayvac Commons and Freedom is a Constant Struggle, Phavia Kujichagulia. And we are delighted to have board hopping for us, Sydney Matterson. Phavia Kujichagulia, Renaissance woman, educator, and activist, has lectured extensively throughout the continental USA, the Caribbean, and England. She is a former professor of ethnomusicology and African civilizations at World College West and Stanford University's workshop on political and social issues. From 1983 to 1999, she taught literary arts at DVI, Susanville, Vacaville, Soledad, Folsom, and San Quentin prisons. And in 2002, she was a member of the United States delegation to the Second World Conference Against Racism in Barbados. From 1990 to 1999, Kujichagulia wrote for Jazz Now magazine. She currently writes for San Francisco Examiner online newspaper and was honored in 2012 as champion of Black editorial writing by the San Francisco Bayview newspaper. Her latest books are Recognizing and Resolving the Roots of Racism and Elephant in the Room, an anthology of articles, essays, and poetry by Phoenix Fire. Most of all, Kujichagulia is a cultural artist and griot, musician, oral historian, and cultural artist who utilizes music and spoken word to reveal history and heal humanity. Welcome, Phavia, to Freedom. It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, as always. Such an honor. Thank you so much.
Yes, and of course, just 2 days ago, we were celebrating the birth of El Haj Malik El Shabazz,
Yes.
also known as Malcolm X.
Brother
And
Omawale.
it's also the birthday of Yuri Kochiyama.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that maybe we can get a few photos of Malcolm and Yuri. And we also brought a little clip. I don't know if we have that available. I forgot to talk about it before the show of Malcolm X.
You have a phone call.
We got the call.
Oh, great, great,
Okay,
great.
we were
Wonderful.
hoping that this is live. We
Yes.
were hoping that Pam Africa would call and give us an update on the critical situation of Mumia Abu Jamal's health. Is she there?
Yes, I am on the move.
On a
Wonderful.
move,
On the
Pam Africa.
move.
Welcome to Freedom, and give us a brief update on what's going on. I understand you're in New York right now.
No, no, no. I'm in Philadelphia,
Oh, she's in
and
Philly.
chasing down the Department of Correction head man Wexler, who's been lying and manipulating and covering up, and he's a part of this attempted murder of Maria. It's clear that they are trying to kill Maria while playing games. They took him away from us. 10 days. We could not talk to him. He wasn't allowed phone calls to his wife, to his lawyer, to his medical doctor that he had on the outside, who exposed the fact that 2 different medicines and that they gave him. One was partially the cause of every side effect that was named in this one particular medicine Mumia had that was happening to him. The swelling of his body, his size was humongous. His feet were swollen. And they took him away 10 days. And in that 10 days, like I said, he had no sleep whatsoever. And when we were preparing to file a lawsuit against them, and we were doing this over the weekend, all of a sudden, Sunday, there was conversations between Mumia's lawyer, the hospital lawyer, and the Department of Correction lawyer. The Department of Correction said it's not our fault that y'all can't get in the visit. That's the policy of the hospital. The hospital itself said this is our policy. When we went to file a lawsuit the day before, the Department of Correction said we're taking full responsibility. The hospital had nothing to do with it. The hospital that he was just in was one of the top-notch hospitals, had all kinds of specialists and things, but we ain't impressed with that because he was not allowed to confer with his doctor on the outside, who not only taught him with the first medicine, but then when he gave him a second medicine on a Thursday, the doctor talked with Mumia, got the name of the medicine, and discovered that this medicine had terrible side effects as well. As a result of that medicine, Mumia legs swelled up more with blisters and bust out in sores all over him, and he couldn't even walk. His wife, Wadil, he hadn't talked with her 3 days before we found out that, that last Monday they took him and put him in the hospital. Shut down the communication. Mumia's wife, they just lost their daughter, Goldie, and Wadil lost her mother, and all these different complications and stuff. And she's watching her husband die before him, and then this is cruel and unusual punishment. I couldn't talk to you earlier because I'm at a place where I found out that the head of the Department of Correction in the state of Pennsylvania was here at the church in Philadelphia. I just left my prison and came straight here. And this dude attempted to lie again, but now they're saying that they're going to hook up meetings with us, with the Black Caucus, so that we can have meetings to actually deal with what is happening. And I'm going to find out whether that's true or not. And because, see, once they say it, and we demand that this stuff happen. And again, they are killing Mumia inside that prison. He knew I just texted you 2 pictures, and people can look up on the internet under the campaign for Mumia and the New York Coalition of Free Mumia. He knew you had the pictures. You'll be sending them out. And, also an interview with Wadia once he came from out that prison. you can see Mumia's elbow and you know, with his skin and his actually, you know, almost like his corroded. One picture, the not initially, and Mumia's ear was already separating from his head. And I mean, you know, when they took him into the hospital, yes, there is a possibility that it came, but I'm saying, so when you see him, when you look at those pictures, female, it's going to make you sick. It's going to make you ill. It's going to make you to bring out the rage in you to even fight that much harder for the life of Mumia. And here we're celebrating, the birth, the death of, you know, our brother Malcolm X, and the death of our sister, Yuri Kochana. And you know what I'm saying, freedom causes, and you know, and Malcolm, this took from us like keeping it, and quick and slow torture is what's happening to Mumia. And this is pure genocide that's happening right in front of our face, not only to Mumia, but to a lot of the men that's inside that prison. And not only do Mumia ran, but there's a whole lot of other, you know, inmates who have this lad. There's a brother there by the name of Major Tillery. Mumia was so sick in the beginning, he didn't realize how sick he was, that he was actually dying until Major Tillery stepped in and wanted to attack me with you. And Mumia was blown up on something like a heart. A couple of days later, Mumia was sent to a hospital with a 779 blood sugar level and 178 sodium count. And Mumia was more near death than anything else. And this stuff affects his liver, it affects his kidney, and they say that he might have lymphoma. They've been treating him for lymphoma, and you know, but still not saying exactly what is happening with Mumia. First, they said he had what was that brand called? Not the one. I can't think of it. They said it was some kind of rash. Then they wound up saying, you know, a couple months later, they don't know what it is. I know what it is. It's something the hell that they gave him. That's what it is, you know. And the label of it is some kind of poison that they put in his body to kill him. And it is slowly taking the life out of Mumia. Look at his eyes. Look at his feet. Look at his arms. And you know. And, you know, what we're asking people to do to continue those phone calls on the Department of Corrections, continue those phone calls on the government, and we will raise hell up in these people here, just like we're doing right now with this head of the Department of Corrections. We ain't allowing them to come into our neighborhoods and, you know, without dealing with this situation. If we have to go up there and turn the governor's mansion upside down, I'm saying we ain't going to sit by and let them just outright kill Mumia, and we haven't. And we're asking people at what point do we up the enemy and let them know that this cannot happen.
Pam, thank you so much for calling in. Unfortunately, the sound is not very clear. So I'm going to stop you there, but thank you so much for calling in, and I'm going to share with our viewers a little more information as we go along, okay?
All right, pop in your phone and pick up those pictures and look at them.
I will.
Okay, now.
Okay, thank you. On a move. Take care. And we're back, and unfortunately, I don't know how well you could hear this, the information Pam was bringing because of the sound quality of the phone call. However, she did mention that Tuesday was Malcolm's birthday as well as Yuri Kochiyama's birthday, which we've been celebrating. But Mumia Abu Jamal was hospitalized outside of the prison in Pennsylvania, where he's doing life for a crime he didn't commit. And apparently, first they tried to silence his voice, by with a bill, that didn't succeed, and so apparently they're trying to silence him by this gross medical neglect and possibly malpractice. So, in fact, I'm pretty convinced it is malpractice. So they couldn't take his life. We got him off of death row after 30 years. They couldn't take his life from because of the hell we raised, especially spearheaded by Pam Africa, whom you just heard, who was the mover and shaker of the International Committee to Free Mumia Abu-Jamal. So we got him off death row, and they gave him life, but apparently they're not going to let him live, and they couldn't silence him with a new law that they wrote up just for him, legislated just for him. It didn't pass because it's against the constitutional right to free speech, and so now they're trying to silence him permanently, apparently. So we need you viewers to look up Mumia on the website, the Campaign to Free Mumia Abu-Jamal, and make sure that you call the prisons and follow the instructions, call the governor, the prison officials, and raise hell.
Yeah.
And so now I want to get back to our guest, and we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on today. And
it's crucial that we all take responsibility for raising a little hell, because hell is being delivered upon us every day under this capitalist system. So it's incumbent upon us to do as much as we can to save our warriors, our heroes, our sheroes, and especially someone with a voice like Mumia, who is constantly reminding us of what's going on through the prison radio project that he does and the articles. And so much was coming from him. These commentaries are so crucial and critical, and to the point where the powers that be need to silence that so that capitalism can continue, so that racism can continue, denial, apathy, and he cannot be silenced, and we must not be silent as they try to silence him. So it's crucial that we all do as much as possible.
Absolutely.
The prison system is one of the most largest growing companies in the country right now, and the greatest population right now, the biggest population that is growing is the females. But we know that the prison system is just a new form of slavery. It is a form of silencing us, and all the people who are specifically called political prisoners with the voice are being sent to prison so that we do not see them, because they actually believe out of sight, out of mind. But we know that's not true. Because we hold our ancestors high, we hold our heroes and warriors high. Just because we cannot see them, we don't have immediate contact with them, we still know that we can change things. And we have that power. We have to use it as often as possible.
Yes. And, the U.S. is number one in mass incarceration.
Yes, it is. And proud of it, too.
Yeah, but they're 36 in education.
In education. Number one in miseducation. Really. And 36 in real education.
Exactly.
And the horrors are that a lot of people aren't looking at this. So many people are distracted by the latest attraction, whatever they put on the views. I do not call it the news, because we don't get too much of the news in the mainstream media. We get their views. So we have to be very careful to make sure that we have alternate sources, alternate voices, and this is a voice that we need to make sure stays around for a long time.
That's right.
Definitely.
So, that's our brother. We have to look after him, and we have to get him. I mean, he sacrificed for us.
Sacrificed so much for us. And, you think, people say things like, well, I don't have the time and I'm too busy. Well, there are people who are in prison who have given their lives, who have died, so that we can have the power and voices and opportunities we have today. Surely we can pick up a phone. Surely we can write a letter.
That's right. I'm a correspondent with prisoners who've been in prison over 40 years. Some over 50 now.
I have stacks of letters every day.
Over 50 years.
And we still have to do this.
Over 50 years. Rochelle McGee over 50 years. Sundiata Akoli over 40 years.
And in
Leonard Peltier.
Leonard Peltier, and he's in bad health.
Gerald.
Yes.
You should just go on down the line.
Yes.
It's unbelievable what's going on.
And the irony is, so many people, little children, and you see them, and their heroes are Batman, Superman, but we have real superheroes
Yeah, we do.
that our children need to know about.
I know.
Serious
Jaleel
superheroes.
Montekim,
Yes.
Herman Bell.
Yes.
You know,
Real superheroes. The children don't even know their names.
I
So
know.
we are really remiss in our
Yeah.
duties.
Yeah.
We need to step up.
Yeah,
Step
but
up.
we did get a couple out.
We did.
Eddie Conway.
We did. We got
and,
Eddie Conway out, and there's-
Sekou Odinga. I
and-
think we, yeah.
And there's just one left with the Angola 3 that we still have to get out.
Yeah.
Albert.
Albert King.
Albert Woodfax. Yes.
Woodfox, right.
Yeah.
I'm mixing them up with King.
Yeah, so there's a lot of work to do. They've done a lot of work, but there's so much more work to be done.
Oh, yes.
And we can do it.
We
We
can.
have the power to do it.
Yes.
Because never forget that we have a power, and the more we're unified, the more power we have.
Yes.
It can happen.
Yes, it can. And talk about the book that you just wrote.
Oh,
and maybe,
yes.
Sydney will share.
Yes, Elephant in the Room. This is
photos.
actually the latest edition. This is by Phoenix Fire, which is a group of 3 longtime poets here in the Bay Area, Brother Dr. Lodge Daly, myself, and Brother Robert Woods, and 2 of my favorite poets, and we all feel the same way about each other. And we've put together a book called Elephant in the Room because racism is the elephant in the room. Injustice is the elephant in the room. And the book brings out all of this so that we start talking about it.
It's about time. Huh?
It's about time. And the thing is about the elephant, elephants have to defecate, and, we're just sitting in all of that. And most people don't want to do anything until a little bit of that crap hits them in the face and their families. Then they want to speak up. But we need to speak up before it starts affecting more people.
Before it affects you
personally.
You know?
Right. Because if it affects...
When they kill Freddie Gray, when they kill Earl Garner, when they kill
Trayvon, Oscar,
and don't forget the women. There's a new movement out
for the women's men.
For
the sisterhood, the brothers on trial
Say
now.
Her Name is a new movement.
Well, I like
and
that.
there was a protest, and folks gathered and produced posters with the names of a number of females like Rakia Boyd and others, Eleanor Bumpers, and so many women who have been murdered,
by the
but
police.
who are just kind of shoved under the
That's
rug.
true. That's true.
They're not just killing our young black men.
Oh,
although
not
they're
at all.
killing them more often.
Not at all.
They're killing all of us.
They're killing all of us.
And they're killing white people too.
Yes.
I saw a video recently, I'm sure some of you did, where this guy was trying to escape the police on a horse. And there happened to be news helicopters flying over, like regular mainstream news helicopters flying over. And they actually filmed these 6 troopers or state troopers or something or some kind of so-called law enforcement piled on this guy, were beating the hell out of him.
I heard about that. I did not see that
and when they
video.
came up, he was a white guy, and I said, "Oh,
whoa,
they're getting them too." Hey, look out now! It's just poor people, really.
It's poor people. It's really
people.
a war against poor
people.
It's
a war against the poor and oppressed. And homelessness has no color.
Oh, not at all. Poverty has no color.
Poverty has no color. So and with that, on that note, I wanted to share a quote from Malcolm X.
Please.
Just one quote to honor him and to strike a blow against racism. In the past, I permitted myself to be used to make sweeping indictments of all white people, the entire white race. And these generalizations have caused injuries to some whites who perhaps did not deserve to be hurt. Because of the spiritual enlightenment which I was blessed to receive as a result of my recent pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, I no longer subscribe to sweeping indictments of any one race. I am now striving to live the life of a true Muslim. I must repeat that I am not a racist, nor do I subscribe to the tenets of racism. I can state in all sincerity that I wish nothing but freedom, justice, and equality, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people. So that was Malcolm as we knew him. And of course, Yuri Kochiyama, who we also showed a photo of and who would have been 93 on the 19th, Malcolm would have been 90 on the 19th. She knew Malcolm, and she was some of you already know, she cradled his head in her lap when he was shot and killed in the Audubon Ballroom, February 21st, 1965. And she was his friend, and he visited her home when she had a Japanese delegation from Japan visit, and he met with them. So he had become an internationalist. And, of course, that's when you become a serious threat.
Yes.
When you are an internationalist.
That's right.
As long as you remain a narrow nationalist, you're fine. You know, you can stick around because, you know, we want you opposed. We want you segregated.
That's right.
You see, but when you begin to talk about poor people, as King did, he was killed.
That's right.
George Jackson tried to unite all prisoners. He was killed. Malcolm X, in his last year of life,
tried to Organization of African Unity.
He was killed. Okay, so the bottom line is it's dangerous to be an internationalist. But on the other hand, we have to understand that we cannot win this struggle to overturn capitalism and replace it with a humane socialist system. We cannot do it without all of us united together, the 99%.
Right. Because if it is not an international struggle, then we still have imperialism to deal with.
Yes.
So we have to deal with capitalism nationally and then imperialism globally.
Yeah.
And people are suffering all over the world for this. And
the suffering is humongous.
It's horrible. And it's wonderful that Malcolm delivered these words to us, because the media tries to get us to see each other in terms of as color. And I like to remind everyone that the enemy is not a color. The enemy is a mentality.
Yes.
You can't see it. It's in the mind.
That's right.
You have to see how people think, and you look at their behavior, and then you have to decide, okay, are you the problem or the solution?
That's right.
You can't tell by what people wear, what they look like. It is inside of you, and we have been so trained to be very superficial in how we look at the problem, because if we look at it on the surface, we'll have a surface solution. We need a solution that is very in-depth, and we're talking about the mentality of a nation. And we are raised in an imperialist, racist, sexist, ageist,
tell me about it,
classist nation. All of those intricacies are put upon us, and then we start projecting them upon other people.
Exactly.
So it is crucial that we start fixing this from the roots of it. People usually wait until they're adults, they're in their late years, and they change, but every moment a child is being born into this system. And they are learning this every second. We've got to start when people are young, so that they grow up with the right mentality, so that this menticide does not continue to kill us. And that's what's going on right now.
Exactly.
It's horrible.
Kujichagulia, will you share some of your poetry with us?
Yes, I will. And
I'm straining at the bit to hear your latest.
One of the reasons I started writing was it was a catharsis. You can get so angry. If it weren't for poetry and music and dance, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Hear you.
And a lot of people, and it allows other people to get on board with it. So this is a piece. I'm gonna start with this one, as a matter of fact, and do another one which is a bit more. Well, I think they're all radical.
You're radical.
Thank you. It's a great compliment.
Yes.
This is a piece called The Human Race. It's one of my favorites. It's actually a piece that I started writing years ago when I was doing one of my last CDs. And I did a piece on the CD. It's actually from the CD, called The Human Race.
Right.
And then people were saying, well, you're using a lot of terms and we don't know what they are. So I started writing a glossary to accompany the CD.
Oh.
And that ended up being a 500-page book.
Oh,
so
my.
I thought, that's a little too much. But the more I started to explain, the more I knew I had to explain, because of the miseducation system. We just don't get the truth here.
We sure don't.
So this is a piece that deals with the reality of the evolution of who we are, where we are, how we got here, and what's going on today.
Go for it.
So this is The Human Race. The little sound effects. Bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Welcome, welcome to the human race. It's a beautiful day here at Equator Gardens, and events are just getting underway. Please note this is the first race of its kind, and it's post time. We've got some great thoroughbreds running further on down the line, but right now, a fine young filly's first time on the track. In lane number 1, we've got Chocolate Pyramid. Her jockey's wearing the black jersey. In lane number 2, it's Dravidian Dream in the brown jersey. We've got Mayan Mystery in lane number 2 in the red jersey, and in lane number 4, it's Golden Sun in the yellow jersey, and in lane number 5, in the white jersey, it's Snowball Express. Ladies and gentlemen, the betting windows are about to close soon, so get your bets in soon. And it looks about the race is about to start. They're lined up at the gate. That's the starting bell, ladies and gentlemen, and they're off. They're off in a cloud of black dust, and Chocolate Pyramid leaps ahead into the early lead. She's the only one in the race for the first 3 million lengths. Down the straightaway into the first turn, she's coming up on the first set of markers now. Australopithecus afarensis, the Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo sapien sapien, the Cro-Magnon into Grimaldi. Chocolate Pyramid's maintaining an impressive stride on the inside turn as she heads around the track to the next straightaway. I've never seen anything like it. None of the others are even in the race. However, Chocolate Pyramid is performing magnificently, and she's approaching the second set of markers now. Hottentot, Twa, Khoi Khoi, Africoid, Astroloid, into Kemet, Ancient Egypt, Sumer, Shane, Dravidian, Olmec. Chocolate Pyramid is coming off the back turn. She looks like an easy winner in this one, folks, but wait a minute. Jockey number 2 on Dravidian Dream has just leaped from the starting gate and is in the race in second place. Mayan Mystery and Golden Sun are now on the track tied for third place. Snowball Express has finally made it out of the starting blocks, but he's way behind in fifth place, barely in the race. And Chocolate Pyramid still way out front in first place. And she's coming up on the next set of markers now. Nubia, Punt, Axum, Ghana, Mali, Songhay, Timbuktu, Ethiopia, Benin, Dagon, Dahomey, Manamutapa, Great Zimbabwe. Top of the lane, it's Chocolate Pyramid, and she's approaching the final turn. Dravidian Dream is gaining on the outside. Mayan Mystery is coming up on the turn and in the backstretch. Golden Sun's looking for room on the rail, leaving Snowball Express way behind in last place. Around the final turn is Chocolate Pyramid, and she's approaching the final markers now. Moore, Algonquin, Carib, Aborigine, Arawak, Maroon, Seminole, Gullah, Geechee. Chocolate Pyramid's way out front in first place. The others are barreling around the track, quickly approaching the last straightaway. As Snowball Express is finally beginning to make his move, he's putting on pressure in the rear, scrambling to make up for lost time. But it's going to be impossible for Snowball Express to catch up. But wait a minute, something's happening. Something is on the track. It appears that one of the jockeys has thrown something onto the field. There's a smoke screen on the track, ladies and gentlemen. It's looking bad for everyone in the race. They seem to be confused and dazed. There's a smoke screen on the track. It's difficult to see who's out front in first place. Down the home stretch toward the finish line, it's smoke, it's neck and neck, it's Chocolate Pyramid and Snowball Express. What an amazing recovery. This is unbelievable. It's Chocolate Pyramid, Snowball Express, Chocolate Pyramid, Snowball Express, Snowball Express, Chocolate Pyramid, Snowball, Chocolate, Chocolate. It's too close to tell. It's going to be a photo finish. Wait a minute, just a minute. Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I've just received word that one of the jockeys has been disqualified. Please hold all your tickets. Yes, it appears that one of the jockeys has been disqualified for throwing a substance on the track. It appears that it is No, it can't be Ray. Not Ray, jockey number 5. Yes, it appears that jockey number 5, Mr. Ray Sism, has thrown a white substance on the track. And we're still awaiting further word for that substance. And we have found out, yes, it's been identified. The white substance has been identified as white supremacy. Yes, a cloud of white supremacy has severely unleveled the playing field here in the human race. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but all bets are off. All bets are off. Whew. That's the human race. So, when I was doing my research on everything, you look up and you wonder, how did we get to the position we're in today? And I would talk to my mentors, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, and they all said, well, you need to do that research yourself. I wanted them to put together one book with the entire chronology of our history. They said, you do that. So that's what I did. And I ended up with this 500-page book. And I found out, as we all know now, that it's finally being admitted in the scientific world that Australopithecus afarensis, or Dankish, is the first common ancestor. We all come from one common ancestor, 3.5 million BCE. And then we come on down to Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapien, which is 350,000 BCE, to Homo sapiens sapien, 150,000 years later. But it is not until the Grimaldis migrate out of Africa, because all these are black, African. First 3 million years of human existence is all black. We never get that.
Right.
And it's not until the Grimaldi people migrate out of Africa and get stuck in the last warm glacial period, the last great ice age, and they get stuck at the 51st parallel, which is the Caucasus Mountain. And after 10,000 years, the ice age ends, the ice melts, and the people emerge. And those are more of our ancestors, and they give birth to what Dr. B.F. Blumenbach later called the Caucasian people of the Caucasus Mountains. The Caucasus Mountain Range, excuse me. So this is all an evolution that we didn't get. And then we continue to find out that as high culture develops, the first great high culture is Kemet, which is the daughter of Ethiopia. And then that's 12,000 years ago. So we're talking 12,000 years before there is the United States. We have this phenomenal civilization that gave birth to physics, science, astronomy. I mean, anything you can name, they did it there. The pyramids. We go on to the second high culture, Sumer, which was later called Babylon, Assyria, and is now called Iraq. Second high culture, Sumer. And when they had the first,
they're about to destroy
they are
the
destroying
culture
as much as that
of
evidence as
Syria
possible. Yes,
right now.
It is continuing the devastation that is going on to make sure we do not know our history. All the way to the third high culture, which is Dravidian, which is originally called the Harappan culture, the Dravidian people of India, the original Indians. And then to the fourth high culture, which is the Shang, and the city in China named after them, Shanghai. And we know that this is still, we're now 5,000 years before there is the United States. Then we come to the Olmec culture, because they did a transcontinental migration across the Bering Strait, and then a transatlantic migration, and we know now that ocean used to be called the Kemetic Ocean after our people of Kemet. They renamed it to the Atlantic Ocean, but it was a transatlantic migration to the Gulf region of Guatemala and Mexico, and the last and final great high culture of the Olmec culture. And this is still 5,000 years before there is a United States, none of which I ever learned in school. You can get a PhD in history and not get any of this history.
I'm learning right now. Teach, sister.
And then we continue and we find out that we had all these wonderful cultures, Shanghai, Timbuktu. Right. Anyone who had to go to school had to go to Timbuktu. The Greeks, everyone had to go there to learn. And speaking of the Greeks, we like to say that the Greeks and, the Romans, of course, enslaved the Greeks and forced the Greeks to teach them what they learned from the Africans. But prior to Greek culture, 3,000 years before Greek culture was Minoan civilization, which was African civilization. We were the first people of Crete on those islands. And then from that evolved the Greeks. So it has always been African culture, African wisdom, African genius that has spurred on the world. And it has not been since the last 500 years, just 500 years, this information has been destroyed, has been removed.
And I would like to inject also the 2000 genome
the Human Genome Project.
The Human Genome Project
Definitely.
breakthrough.
Yes.
That established once and for all that there's one biological race, the
one
human race.
That's why I love to call it the human race.
That's exactly what it is.
There is one race.
And the differences among and between us are cultural, political,
and there's more
national.
Yes, and there's more differentiation within the so-called races than between the so-called races. It's amazing.
Exactly.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
We are all one people.
Yes, we are.
And capitalism has trained us to hate each other based on how we look. I know,
it's so silly. And it's so
ridiculous.
Retarded.
It's retarded.
Because, one of the things since I've been struggling to get over my own stuff, being nice for the FCC.
Me too.
But And I'm serious about that. I've been trying to get over my black nationalism, trying to get over my individualism and everything, all that,
It's
all the
difficult.
stuff that we've, the consumerism,
The-
all that stuff.
it's
I'm trying to
difficult.
get rid of it.
It's difficult.
And it is difficult. And one of the things, once I learned about, okay, we're one human race, what does that mean? How should I interpret that in my daily
Daily
practice?
life, yes.
And as I get older, I've become more of a spectator sports fan because I'm stuck on a bed a lot. So I watch tennis. And the first, I'll tell you how I got over some of my national. Serena and Venus were the only ones who could get me to watch tennis once upon a time. Okay.
Mine was Arthur Ashe. I was in love with Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, but he didn't quite pull me in. But the sisters did.
Okay.
Okay. And then as I became a tennis fan, watching them over the years, I began to realize that I was expressing a lot of prejudice of my own against the other white players because, it was predominantly white for sport for so long.
That's right.
And but now I finally said to myself, when a human being does something very, very well, that means that, especially if she's female, that means that I could do that too, or my daughter could do that too, or we could do that.
Right.
That means all of us could do that. Any human being can achieve what this particular human being achieved.
True.
And instead of always looking at somebody and saying, who's of a different nationality or culture and saying, oh, they can do this, the Chinese can do this, or the Italians can do this, or the Africans can do this, and we can now say, look at any of those national individuals and say, we can do that too.
That's right.
Because those are human beings
human
doing
beings.
that.
That's right.
Instead of thinking so much along racial or national or cultural lines,
Right.
if we think in terms of humanity and that, oh, I'm a human being too, then if that human being can achieve that, so can I.
Anyone can achieve it. And it's ironic that the one time we actually behave as one human race is when there's a natural disaster.
Of course.
Isn't that sad?
It is
that
sad.
there has to be, and that's
But at
probably
least
Mother Nature's way of making us realize that we are one
make
human
us
race.
behave ourselves.
Yes, and the fact that
Making us act right.
right, making us act right, and the fact that we don't think in these terms shows the insanity of the culture we live in, and the biggest problem is that we go around acting like we are sane. If we are not insane by this, and we have not realized that this is the total antithesis to how we should be living, then we've truly lost it.
Well, I think we all suffer from a little insanity.
We do.
I do.
And
I really
if
do.
if you
we
are
all
feeling
mental health patients.
if you think that you are fine and everything's fine, you are the one that's insane. And the ones of us questioning sanity are really the ones who are sane. Because the fact that we allow such inhumanity, such injustice to persist on a daily
dropping bombs on civilians.
the militarization of the community, it's horrible.
Terror Tuesdays, targeted killings.
Targeted Tuesdays.
Bombing the hell out of
so
people.
ready to go and bomb some other nation when we have children here can't eat. People can't survive. The military budget is ridiculous. And as the military budget and the prison budget increases, the poverty increases, and the miseducation increases, schools are closing everywhere, and people
They
continue
closed
with
50
their day.
in Chicago.
And they're trying to close 131 in Oakland.
You're kidding.
That is their goal. And people go on.
But they're
like,
opening more prisons
they're opening
and
more
privatizing
prisons,
them.
Privatizing them. And the fact that people go on with their daily life is painful.
And prison is just the new slavery
It's
as
the
it's
new
sanctioned by the
slavery.
Constitution.
It is. Because, if you're in prison, you have no day off, no health care, no child care, no workers' comp,
And they don't have to ship your job overseas.
Don't have to ship your job overseas. And they can still pay you less in prison. No import tax, no export tax.
And every company that you can name is behind those
It's
walls.
behind the prison. And there's nothing that we don't touch on a daily basis that is not made in a prison. I mean, all the opticals come from prisons. All the bit of furniture in every state building is made in prisons.
Yeah, the
list
state
is
of California
on and on.
has to go to prison work made products first before they can bid on anything privatized.
And all the wildfires that we see, we don't know that the first line of those fires are inmates.
Oh, yes.
The inmates are the first ones they send out.
And they pay them $1 an hour.
And they pay them and that's the highest pay in prisons.
Exactly. To risk your life.
Risk your life. Yeah, there is so much that we really are not being told. And that's okay that we're not being told, because we understand that's the way capitalism works. That's the nature of the beast. But once we have the information, the crime is not acting on it.
Right.
That's the greater crime.
Yeah, your silence becomes approval.
Yes, it becomes approval.
Seriously.
And so we have to speak up. If you can do it through a painting, through a poem, through a dance, a TV show, any way you can oppose, you must speak up, speak out.
A guerrilla is a revolutionary propagandist.
Yes.
That's what a guerrilla is.
It's a revolutionary propagandist. And
armed with the truth.
Armed with the truth. And will not back down.
Exactly.
And one of my favorite poets, Dr. Ahimsa Sumchai Porter, I remember one of her poems, she said, you cannot ignore a guerrilla revolutionary to death. They cannot be ignored. So as long as we continue to act in that fashion, we will be acknowledged. Right. And the fact that we have to go out into the street and protest says a lot about our willingness to participate. And even worse than that is many people are more anxious to complain about the protesters than what they're protesting against.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to run short of time pretty soon, but I know you have another poem.
I did. This is a more recent one that I did write. And it has to do with a lot about the frustrations of the lack of privacy. There is no such thing as privacy anymore. I resent it to no end.
I assume that they know everything I'm doing.
Oh, and we always knew that our phones were bugged. We always knew that.
I actually was a plaintiff in a wiretap lawsuit that was won, so I know.
We know. So, but now the general public is knowing we're all being monitored for no reason.
Except that when I was wiretapping, it was illegal. Now it's the Patriot Act, it's legal.
And that act is coming up for renewal. We need to be very careful to make sure it does not pass again.
Yeah.
So they're looking to renew that. It's June 1st. It's coming up, so we need to all be aware of that. So this one is it's called More War and Homeland Insecurity.
Oh, that's a goodie. Right on time.
Yes. Warlords pimp the planet. They're playing God. Bullies with Bibles, bullets, and bombs use weapons of mass destruction to kill freedom in the name of peace. These signs reveal the mark of a beast, trying to hide behind a blind media blitz to escape their impending apocalypse that seeks to destroy all humanity, except a privileged few, a mere 1%. Less than 400 families will space shuttle away so they can stay in some post-apocalyptic colony. Now, does that feel like democracy? Does that look like diversity? Is that justice and liberty? Widening the gaps between the greedy and needy, profiting from homeland insecurity by bankrolling terrorism in the 21st century. Cold as they want to be. And like nuclear arms at their side, they're protected by the high-tech digital divide, leap across or get left behind the warlords and virtual deities, constantly christening clones and drones programmed by everything. Clones and drones programmed to buy everything. Clones and drones programmed for anything. Clones, drones, allies, enemy, fighting a rival for an adversary, and all the while 1% of the population attempting to control everything. So 24/7 we are being dumbed down while they're inventing species dominant machines. 24/7 we are monitored by cybersecurity, smart meters, and the FCC. But what good is homeland security when nothing is secure in this country? Instead of making the country safe, it has evolved into a police state where personal privacy has become extinct thanks to total and complete surveillance and secrecy. Secretly, you and me, we are targeted, caught in their crosshairs, wiretapped and tracked on their radar, like sitting ducks stuck on the web, just a click away, a glitch on the grid, living under cover of covert scrutiny, treated like public enemies, by puppets and pawns profiled and stereotyped by private entities and government agencies. TRW, Equifax, the ATF, the IRS, Coast Guard, National Guard, Blackwater Contracts, the Patriotic Act, the PD, the HP, FBI, ICE, CIA, DEA, NSA, TSA, COINTELPRO, the Department of Homeland Insecurity is the final showdown. Justice and democracy against the global war for more and more and more and more war. WAR war, wealth and riches. WAR war, wealth and riches. More wealth and riches for those 1% of sons of riches always wanting more. More terrorism, more imperialism, more fascism, more greed, more Machiavellian militarization, more white supremacy. It all leads to coup d'etat politics for cheap labor overseas and a prison industrial complex desperate to squeeze more corporate profits from a dying economy. So high rates of incarceration, no surprise. Capitalism needs and feeds off slave labor to survive. That's why the injustice system keeps it well supplied with millions upon millions of black and brown lives. Now, does that feel like democracy? Does that look like diversity? Is that justice and liberty? Or is it up to you and me to free the many political prisoners and prisoners of war surviving psychological torture, solitary confinement, condemned to death for defending truth and justice? For defending truth and justice, all we get are more prison privatization and peonage, more foreign occupation and espionage, more class propaganda and false pretexts for the prison military industrial complex, more patriotic rhetoric, more war and bloody altars of debt, more crusades, more Christian crusades for jingoism. Everybody praise the Lord and pass the ammunition because they are on a mission for more. These war lords pimp the planet. They're playing God. Bullies with Bibles, bullets, and bombs use weapons of mass destruction to kill freedom in the name of peace. These signs reveal the mark of a beast trying to hide behind a blind media blitz to eclipse their impending apocalypse that seeks to destroy all humanity except that privileged few, a mere 1%. Less than 400 families plan to space shuttle away so they can stay in some post-apocalyptic colony. Now, does that feel like democracy? Does that look like diversity? Is that justice and liberty? Hell no. That's not democracy. That doesn't look like diversity. That's not justice or liberty because we are at war. WAR, war. That's why we need more warriors and revolutionaries. WAR, war. We need more warriors and revolutionaries to fight this war.
Oh, my goodness. You just, Kujichagulia. My goodness.
Oh.
You just keep getting better.
Oh, I have so many mentors and inspiration around me.
Oh, my. You are such a wordsmith. I mean,
trying.
It's just amazing.
I'm trying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, we got a minute left.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow, the time goes so fast.
And before I say, I just have to give a shout out to Candace Bell and the political science graduating class of San Francisco State. Thank you for giving me the honor of being your keynote speaker. Thank you, Kujichagulia, for joining us here on Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Sydney Matterson. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in. And I think we have a minute left that I can give to you to announce your website. Your book,
yes, you can Google Kujichagulia. All my stuff will come up. Kujichagulia. No matter how you spell it, it'll come up because it's one of the principles of Kwanzaa. And just want to remind everybody that this Saturday is African Liberation Day. We will be at the Eastside Arts Alliance Pan African Peoples.
And that's in the Fruitvale area of Oakland.
Yes, it's on 2277 International. All African Peoples Revolutionary Party is sponsoring that. It's from noon to 5. Come on out, celebrate.
On what date?
It's Saturday, May 23rd.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank
and
you, my
all
sister.
power to the people.
Power to the people.
Free all prisoners.
Free all political prisoners.
Abolish the death penalty.
Please, and keep it on the
abolish
move.
the prison system.
Abolish the prison system. Abolish capitalism.
That's right. Release all our political
Release
prisoners.
all our political prisoners.
Yes.
All life
Yes.
matters. All
Peace and
colors.
love.
Everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening.